Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Welcome to another REHI podcast episode. And today, as you can already see, we have the legendary Brandon Mitchell, Ukraine medic, volunteer medic, and a fundraiser who fundraises every day, all the time, every year. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me again, Arthur. It's real nice to be here.
I see you have brought something. You didn't have gift last time. Now you have 4 bags suddenly, or 5 bags. So what's up with them?
Well, I left Ukraine actually at Christmas time for personal reasons. I got some family things to deal with, health, and I've been employed by Quartermaster for Ukraine ever since. It's a Swedish NGO that solely helps the Ukrainian army, particularly in medical supplies. About 12 million euros, working towards 13 million euros now of medical supplies.
Altogether given to Ukraine?
Yes, and more, because we get to handle things. As I told you on Sunday, I'll pick up 900 army rations directly donated from the Swedish Hemvärnet. That's the home, like the National Guard. So we process a lot of nice things to have as well. Yeah. So I'm here to talk to you a bit about that, where we've been since last time. We'll see where it goes.
People really loved the last time's episode, and they were quite shocked actually, because it was at that time of the war when it was not that popular yet or widespread to give out the stories, and your story about how the crew died and how you survived and what all happened. Many people have come to me. I've done like 25, 30 podcasts, and they say this podcast is the one that they got shocked. It's, wow, who is this guy?
Well, I'm just... I didn't know what I was going to Ukraine for. I thought maybe whatever humanitarian is. I didn't have any military notions. Done 4 years in the infantry, never seen a tour. That was a long time before, I was out of the army 12, 13 years before going to Ukraine. I didn't have any pretension. I just wanted to be in our battalion. I wanted to be an ambulance driver, and they said, we don't have any drivers, we need gunners. And then that turned into an education, if you will, like almost like a mentorship. So
by a military training, you're actually a gunner.
I joined an infantry regiment. I joined the Army Reserves when I was a kid in Canada. When Afghanistan was going on, I quickly got offered a full-time contract in the army. In peacetime armies, people used to have a long waiting list to get in the army. I ended up in the UK. I ended up in the British Army. I ended up in Northern Ireland. When I was out of the army, I was a bad little boy. I never thought about army again. I don't idolize what is this weapon, what is that weapon, and I really don't nowadays. As long as it's not shooting at me, that's good enough.
Can I ask, as a medic, you were a volunteer on the front for the longest period of time, over a year, definitely. Did you actually carry a sidearm when you were doing your missions?
Yeah, I've been thinking about talking about that a lot here. First time around, I had an AK-74, never used it. Got an AKM later on through the shuffle, which was actually a downgrade. I've used it twice. If people really want to know. And I've got 1 confirmed kill. And it's a drone. And it's our drone. And I'm not the only person who've done that. Many people have done that in Ukraine. We have awards, like the Darwin Awards. That's like the Planetary Defense Award. That I don't know how it exactly, that's roughly how it translates. Planetary Defense. Starsky has that award too.
Starsky shot also?
Yeah, in the old war, because before he was an officer, he was a sergeant in the National Guard.
Shot down their own drone.
He shot down, yeah, and they didn't have a lot of drones back then.
I gotta confront him about it. He never told me. We had long conversation. He never mentioned that.
That's true story, and that's
shade.
That's very common.
Wait, can you tell the story? What happened? Which drone was it? And
well, I kind of had this thing go in Donbas taxi, because we have a volunteer battalion and we have contractual obligations, agreements to certain brigades, but outside of that. I was more or less given the blessing to do other things with my time. They knew I was getting a good result with the generators fundraising, so they're like, keep going. Very randomly ended up meeting a guy named Max, who I thought was a medic, and he was actually a press officer in the 4th Brigade National Guard. And their truck was busted. So we ended up working for them, like when we liberated Le Mans, say for example, Yampol. Not really here to talk about Yampol, that was an atrocity. But for days on end, I started to work with Max and Vova. He has his own YouTube channel, The Flashback, and he writes so beautifully. We were coming back one day from the deoccupied territories and into Kramatorsk, and at the block post at night it's dark, you have to turn off your lights to go to check, and all of a sudden we see the cops. They're out on the side of the road. Okay, they're the next car ahead of us, and then we see the red light buzzing. Wouldn't have been 50 meters away. This is very bizarre for a drone behavior. And we're like, what's going on? And the cops have Sushkas, the short snubby nose AKs, and then they start firing into the air. I'd never seen proper action yet, if I'm completely honest, other than getting shot at by artillery, if that counts. But I've never been in a gunfight. And Max, outside of Brvinkova, you know, he'd never had, but we all got excited. And we're like, can I swear on your podcast?
Yeah.
Literally, everyone was like, fuck yeah. Once the cops are shooting, we can shoot. I was the only one who had a red dot, so it was easy. I just took aim. I used my car door to brace, and within 3 shots, I know I got it. Sushka's an automatic, ain't hitting shit. And basically, the cops are doing like Rainbow Six stuff, like going over to the drone, and the drone's all zzz, 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 you know? I'm like, come on, guys, take it easy, you know, Rainbow Six up on the drone. And then don't move. Yeah. And some guy comes like out of the bushes, Suka bliat nahui pizdyats. And the cops, everything, and everyone looks at me, and I speak a bit of Surgic, Ukrainian, Russian blend. I wasn't trying to impress nobody then. I just put on like a broad American accent. Well, guys, that's shit when that happens. You know, I'm going to go now. Slava Ukraini. And before we leave, the cops come over. They start talking to Max and Dima. And they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what do they want? It's like they're asking us, what weapons do we have? Do we have AKM, AK-74? It's like, why? It's like they're asking if we can have some ammo off them. Cops have to fill out paperwork every time they discharge a round. The army doesn't. Yeah. And it's like, how does that look? We just shot down one of our own drones. So to me, that's the spirit of Donbas. You know, people talk, Ukraine's not a perfect country, and I'm not here to slag it, but you can ask anybody. The police is a very respected institution in Donbas now in the war. They are, you know, you go to Kiev, there's some guys who are really enjoying their time, not in their army service, and they like to swing their badge, but it's not like that in Donbas. But that was a real, I always had a lot of trouble when I was a kid, and now I'm helping out the cops with ammo. I just thought.
Well, that comes as a real surprise to me. I would guess Donbas cops are the most corrupt pigs there ever was. But you mentioned Max, the guy you were working with, he was from the 4th Presidential Brigade. That's Starsky's brigade, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. Starsky was actually his boss. That's how I met Starsky.
Oh, really?
That's how I became a big star and eventually met the likes of your level.
And you shared the stories together, how you both shot down your own drones, right?
And we only found that out after the fact, yeah. That's a true story.
Did you give them bullets? Did you actually help them out?
Yeah, we hooked them up. I used to have, through Dimitri, we still got the apartment in Kramatorsk. Nobody lives in it, but for 1,500 hryvnia a month, that's kind of like...
Still rented?
Well, it's 1,500 hryvnia a month. It's $30. If somebody needs it once every 2 months, it's a lifesaver, right?
It's already cheaper than one night in Tallinn.
I mean, that used to be my ketamine storage. You know, because a lot of aid agencies they don't know where to give stuff. They just see someone on Instagram, a foreigner, a medic here. Do you want this? Yes. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what's in that place now. There could be thermobarics for all I know.
Right, it's your name on the contract?
No, I don't know whose name on the contract.
Nobody knows who owns it, who rents it.
I've still got a key to the place.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, we have multiple properties. Yeah.
When was the last time you were at the front? I know you have been a few months in Sweden now, and I want to talk about all that situation also. Plus, we haven't actually discussed what's inside these bags. But when was the last time you were at the front?
Oh, I left Kherson 2 days before Christmas to come home. The last time I'd done anything operational in a combat role would have been 2 weeks prior to that. Other than that, working on stabilization point. You talk a lot about Krinki. Yeah, I mean, the position doesn't exist anymore. It's actually a crater in the ground, but Tahinka directly across from the river, and we had one of the most efficient stabilization points I've ever seen in the war. And it was a Russian stabilization point before it was our stabilization point, and they knew what we were using it for. And we had a captured radio, and we knew we were going to get hit. And when that information came down, we cleared that place out in, I think, about an hour 30 minutes. Do you know how much stuff is in there?
Yeah,
a place that can handle four surgeons, let alone everything else going on there.
You must have had big, nice vans to do that. I mean, to back everything up in compact way and drive away, right?
Well, no, yes and no. I mean, I had an L200. We were very lucky. We had 2 Humvee ambulances. One was a 2021. 35 Brigade relatively had a lot of vehicle assets.
Marines, right?
Yeah, we had to help 36 all the time because their vehicles were pieces of shit.
Talking about that, actually, we are doing now a fundraiser for the 36, right?
37.
37 Marine Brigade, actually. And they're also, I'm not sure if they're positioned in Grinki, but you said to me that you want to help Marines. You've been on the stabilization near Grinki and saving the lives, patching up the kids from Grinki, actually. So if you guys are watching this video goes live, a podcast, it's still live, the fundraiser. We're going to buy a truck together with REHI Brandon campaign. So go and donate. Link is in the description below, and you can help save lives like Brandon has done it in the stabilization points.
Yeah, I'm quite passionate about the situation in Kherson. It's underreported. There is no media allowed in Kherson.
It's silent on the Western Front, pretty much. It's a lot is happening there. Men die, and they only talk about Donbas and Kharkiv now.
I think the reason is, and you know, I never got memos sent to Brandon from Zaluzhny or Shersky, but everything runs along a river. So where Donbas can go a million different ways, different roads, the only way across is the beach. And that's a very long front. That's a very, very long front. And from my experience with our works, eventually I thought it was a coveted thing, eventually, to be asked to work on the Humvee crew. And it's actually the shittiest experience of my life.
Why is that?
Well, because I'd now come to the point where I'm either the doctor's assistant or being the sole paramedic, which is quite scary on the back of a vehicle. You just hope you get light casualties, you know. But from not being a driver anymore in Donbas on sometimes some pretty dodgy things, you know, like we try to avoid trouble. Like that's the whole goal of war, you know what I mean? If medics are getting shot up, you know, I can count that on both times of my hands it's happened, but something's gone wrong, right? But when you're the driver, whether you see a thermobaric, you see phosphorus, you see all these things, you hear it, yeah, it's scary. But when you're in the back of a box and you hear it all, but you don't see anything and no one's telling you, that's when the mind starts playing. Yeah, we got that beach and we have to be quick because that's our most vulnerable point. You can only move at night. And I have only ever seen 2 Russian boats ever get hit, and I've seen it through the drones, on the water. Do you realize how rare it is how you could actually indirect fire to hit a moving target on the water?
It's almost impossible, it seems like.
But I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
And
mortars or drones?
I've seen 120 hit between 2 boats, and one went to the bottom and the other went home.
How does that? Such a coincidence has to be, because you cannot really aim. You cannot do that deliberately. It just happens, right?
I pushed the button. I pushed the button on Kropeva, and nobody told me to, but I let it. Just like you would a moving target on a rifle. And
can you do that?
When my friend Joe, he said to me, he says, "Oh, it's not the mortar crew we had last week."
You are in the wrong position there, man. You should be leading the mortars.
It was just a button. It was literally a tablet, just pushing a tablet screen. That's all I'd done. But those teams, those responses, and Kherson's very different because you're very vulnerable. You know, you've had a drone effort. We have drones in Kherson I've never even seen before. Agricultural drones that cross the river with supplies, with ammo, with medical supplies. I was like, why can't we take a man on it?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're not doing that.
Why? Because I even saw it on the news, and this is here we go. Oh, I saw on the news, but the British donated drones that have the lift capacity of 200 kilograms to the Kherson front. So
I've asked the commander, Nachmed and everything. He said, no, we don't do that. And I don't ask a lot of questions, and I could see how it could go horribly wrong too. But those are very expensive.
what is the most common injury that you have to stabilize? The most common that comes in?
Shrapnel. Always shrapnel. Now with FPVs, sometimes you're seeing guys not in Kherson because of the river crossings and the delayed. So Donbas, it was always shrapnel. As FPVs got bigger and bigger, I haven't seen many casualties from them. A lot of them will have burns. People who have airways or breathing problems quite often don't make it across because if the boats can only run at night, like I kind of had like a work-life balance in Kherson. Some nights you could work till 11 o'clock. You could work till 2 in the morning. You could work till 8 in the morning. But the commander would know when the last boat's coming for the night. So you never know what you're going to get at night. In Donbas, it could be any time of day. Any time of day. Night is always the worst.
So they evacuate wounded from Grinky back to the Ukrainian.
Dachi, Krinky, some other places.
Only at night with rubber boats?
Potemkin Island. We fight back and forth on that still to this day. Yeah, rubber boats. There's some metal boats as well.
But are there any stabilization boats on the other side?
Medical resources are very limited over there. I don't ask many questions, but sometimes my friends tell me it's getting better. It's getting a lot better over there.
So if you get wounded, let's say 9 a.m. in the morning, then the next boat is 11 p.m.
Long wait.
You gotta bleed out. You might.
Long wait.
Okay.
I'm glad we're talking serious here because you're so good at your job. You tell the truth, but you tell it in an entertaining way. But this is the podcast. This is not that. The reality is it's very, very, very difficult. It's a lot of times our dead, for example, are not the priority. And I know how you take a man out of a trench. It's not honouring the body. That's not the concern at all. It's very unceremonious. Further back when we zip them up, everything is done with care. Not in Kherson. Not in Kherson. So those boats are a priority to move, and they're just not the priority.
You mean bringing back the dead from Grinky also?
They can wait.
Yeah.
They can wait.
For a long time?
Sometimes 2 days. The longest I've had was a month.
A month?
A month.
In the heat, or?
No, that would have been November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise you could smell it already, right?
Yeah, I had mixed emotions about that one. But he's somebody's son too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's underreported. Everything in the war, because you look at the maps, before weapons, numbers, it's always about the terrain. Mm-hmm. That's what the most important thing is. And that river's a real bitch. It is.
I'm going to pivot for a moment because I want to ask about how are you holding up mentally, because coming back before Christmas from Ukraine where you have saved lives and actually seen how people die in your arms, literally, because you try to patch them up, seeing that daily or nightly then, how do you adapt to civilian life now, which you have been living for 4 months already in Sweden? How is that going on?
I'm unhappy.
Yeah?
I'm very unhappy. My dog is a big help. My work is a big help. Like, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I learned that. I'm addicted to goals and results. So you have talked to me about your mental health before. Mm. And when you set off to do some goals, sometimes there's a lot of pressure on you. to perform. And, there has been some things I've done for Quartermaster for Ukraine, for example, that I could not do as an individual. When I get invited on the UK tour, I'm the only foreigner on the tour from the Army medics. There was a lot of pressure on me, a lot of pressure on all of us. It was just, we accomplished good things, but it was like a freak show.
Can I ask, if you say you're unhappy, that's like it's a very brave thing to say nowadays. Many soldiers who come from the front, they would deny this or drink it away or use any kind of drugs. But were you also unhappy on the front, or was it masked and you didn't know it? Or what do you think where the truth is about that?
Well, a lot of I don't know about the Legion guys. I know a lot of Legion guys, and the Ukrainians are the minority there. But there's a certain set of people, possibly a minority of foreigners, who serve in Ukrainian units. And there's something very gratifying about that, I've got friends like one of them, Samurai, whatever, doesn't speak a word of English, but we just send each other a text message every now and then. And I'll just be honest, it's like, you're gay. You look gay in that photo. Do you know what I mean? That's love. That's love. But he don't need to speak English. Just being with those people, there's something about that I don't get that gratification anymore. And I will tell you a lot of things, not all of us are friends, all the foreigners, because we all want to do the best we can. But we're not perfect, but we all tend to be a little bit extra saintly around the Ukrainians. I'm just being honest, but I observe that in others. We treat them better than we treat ourselves, and we tend to treat our own nationalities.
But I connect so much to the fact that when you are there, you get the gratification. Me personally also, I do this YouTube, and it's not even to compare or lessen your experience, but I get gratification through what I do here. And if I don't get that much, I already see cracks in my personality. Okay, I'm not getting praised. I feel sad. I feel lonely. Why? What is wrong with me? Why do I need so much gratification? That's where I'm with it. So how do you handle that in Sweden when you don't get to save people's lives anymore?
Well, this year alone, see, what's happening in Quartermaster for Ukraine, I don't know any other organization. I still fundraise off my own back to do projects that I think are important. Now I'm going to start doing some initiatives for them that, like, using my platform to help them too. But that's, I want to help Sasha. I want to help Dima. I want to help Vova. I want to help Sergey 1, 2, and 4, but not 3. But an organization cannot do that because they don't know those people. I get a real thrill. These med packs, in the organization, 12, 13 million euros. And it's like, when you're talking about it, Brandon, no, it's this much. I'm going to be honest here, and they might not like me to say it. No, they cost $1,200. Yeah, if you bought it at retail, well, make it look bigger. It's like, why would people support us? They can just buy a tourniquet themselves. No, we're getting them at rock bottom prices because you're buying 10,000 tourniquets at a time. This is the power of an organization.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Repower. Over 100 medics come to Sweden for rehabilitation at a time. I told you, Paul Jonsson, the defense minister, he comes to that every year every 2 months when that program starts. But he doesn't make a big media thing out of it like you think a politician would. Through QM, we support them, and I worked hard. We worked hard. That cost about $100,000 for the organization to put that on every time, like our contribution to it. I can't do that. I don't have those resources. We buy directly from the same people who supply Försvarsmakten, the Swedish army, the German army.
As much as I understand, Quartermaster is like a lot of credit goes to them for actually. I see you want to praise them a lot, and they are giving you also a good position. I understand that you like working for them, and you get to do
the results.
You like the results, yeah.
I mean, LKAB, I told you, is the biggest Swedish, one of the biggest mining consortiums in the world. They want to supply Tilda, first of all, who is our main person in Donbas. That's her relationship that she developed and their trust. But now they're supplying us almost new vehicles for the specs we need to alter them to in Ukraine. They're looking out for our interest. They don't deal with individuals. It doesn't work that way. And I'm not going to just shill for Quartermaster for Ukraine. I've seen the work NAFO's done. I've seen the work 69 Sniffing Brigades done. I've seen the hardware you guys have brought. I've also seen Ukraine ADOPS. I'm not playing favorites here. 200 IFACs to Rebecca that I had to go pick up once. Though, like, I can't just go in my pocket for 200 IFACs. You know, I'm working on generators. I'm working on something that Brandon can work on. That's where I thought a lot about our podcast today. I don't want to just shill for you, shill for me. We need to improve things because this narrative that we're always winning, you know, it costs a lot of lives. Every time a Ukrainian dies, it's like a compounding factor. It gets harder and harder because that's a good Ukrainian. You know, imagine how good human beings they were, the ones who volunteered the first couple of weeks into the unknown, Arthur. We need to keep doing what we're doing, but people need to support the big organizations. They need to support NAFO.
Not Red Cross. Yeah, there are 3 big ones that no.
If you don't want to aid the Ukrainian army, I don't want to talk to you. I ain't got time for you. I'm not political, but if you want to because I learned that on the UK tour, they only brought medics, not soldiers, because we don't want to offend anyone at the universities. I'm a very progressive man. I've voted left and right, but there's a certain narrative that's being pushed there. I don't want to attack the biggest media, but when do they ever mention the army? Okay, United 24. When do they ever mention the army? Ever, unless it's a prisoner, you know what I mean, like a Mariupol prisoner, or how they're mistreated, or a medic. It's all about, it's the trendy thing, you know, support Ukraine, learn about music, learn about culture. No, it's the army, and that's what anything you want to do to help the army, I'll talk to you. If you want to talk about promoting Ukrainian culture and cooking, great, but I don't have the mental capacity. I ain't got time for you, because if the army falls.
I do agree. We have the same discussion here in Estonia right now, because every aspect about Estonian life and culture, everything, they're taking money away from it because our economy is going down right now. And we need 1.6 billion to the army like yesterday. So they got to take money everywhere. And people are like, no, don't take it. Like, save the science, save the education, What use is it if Moscow is ruling us? So the army, feed it, save it, take money everywhere else, put it to the army, and then when country is safe, we can put it back. So I agree, this is the number one thing right now. But I want to ask another question from you. Where do you see yourself, since you're right now in Sweden? You have mentioned me that you're there and working with the quartermaster, also connected to your immigration status.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to Ukraine?
Absolutely. And it's not in my interest to say that. Absolutely. I'm studying now. I've obtained my second certification with the British Ambulance Service. I've travelled a couple times to the UK. I study online, and I'll be quite clear. I've never admitted this to even my own audience. I have a small following, but it's a very intimate following on my social media. I've never discussed this. If all things are solved in Sweden, I have an opportunity to continue my studies, but that would mean another 6 months not going back to Ukraine. And it would involve doing over 750 hours clinical work on ambulance and hospital in my own language. Do you understand? Like, I've learned a lot of things very fast in Ukrainian, but they're not necessarily the correct things. And I'm humble enough to say that. All my friends, you talk to people, Third Assault, you talk to Azov, you talk to Morska Pechota, the Marines. These are my heroes. A lot of them are younger than me, you know. I'm talking people in their 20s, medical professionals. They're saying, if you got that opportunity, you do this, because this war is not going to end soon. Russia is not going to stop.
Get educated, do it, right?
And they said, if you can do that and get clinical and get a qualification and come back to us, we need that. We need that. One thing at a time, but I'm a week away from submitting my final papers for my current qualification. And
if it goes through, you might be another 6 months in Sweden learning, studying?
Possibly in an English-speaking country. But the reality is this war is, I want to dispel anybody's myths. This is not going to end, because Right now, things are going Russia's way. And did Hitler ever sue for peace? And the war went his way until late 1943. Ukraine doesn't have the option to surrender. And nobody ever talks about it, but I think it would tear the country apart if we didn't get somewhat a just peace. How would that feel? How would you feel as a society?
I mean, for me, peace is Putin's narrative. There is no peace with Russia being Russia right now. No option of peace in any narrative, in my eyes. It's victory, only victory. That's the only way.
It's big thing. Everything you do. I don't watch all your videos. I probably watch about one a week if I'm honest. Okay, I'm not a diehard. I don't even watch my own stuff. It's better I don't, because then you start hating yourself. You should have done this.
Oh, the internal critic is so bad when you upload. Yeah,
but we need to keep doing things better and better and better. I mean, look at the convoy you're going to go on for the car that we're raising together. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to piss off Ragnar, but I'm sure it didn't run smooth when they started.
Oh no. There were so many issues. Cars.
People driving west when they're supposed to be driving east.
We were in a convoy 2-3 convoys ago with Jasper when one car started to burn on the highway and stuff like that happens. So you fundraise, you get that money, $10 at a time, and just for it to burn down in Poland. And that's how you cannot do anything about it. That's how it is.
It's getting better.
It is.
I not to steal the narrative, but I was excited when you asked me to fundraise with you. You don't need me. You can raise the money for a car on your own.
But it's a different reason, I think. I would like to cooperate with you also because my viewers really do love you, and you are like a legend, honestly, in the Ukrainian community. Everybody knows you. And it's, you know what's weird? It's so hard every time I try to tag you in Twitter, because I always search Brandon Mitchell.
No, I'm not getting into that toxic shit show. Good luck. Chasleva. I can't handle Twitter.
No, but you have Twitter. It's just with another name, isn't it?
No, then that's a bot or a troll.
Oh.
We will talk about that later.
Damn it.
Yeah, I'm not on Twitter. No, sir. I can't even defend myself on Twitter, which is good.
How do you deal with the negative comments, though? If there are any, because I read your comments and they freaking love you, but there's like this one or two maybe sometimes. What do you do with them? Ignore?
Well, I have a moderator now that really helps me.
Whoa.
She helps Starsky, she helps Georgies. And what I believed in free speech, like just leave it all up there. Sometimes I would do the pin of shame and just like sick 'em, boys. Or if I wanted to make a response to something that they may not have considered and it made me think, because a lot of people say, why don't you do this in Ukraine? But they come from no understanding of why we have to...
stupid ideas, yeah.
But there's some brilliant ideas. I've learned a lot from the comments. But a lot of people get burnt out by the negativity on there and the trolls. If you want to attack me, I told her, leave it on there. But if you start attacking my friends, or if you start going into like a vile nature, like people tell me, like, you know, Brandon, you're getting old, you're losing your hair, you know what I mean? You need testosterone replacement. I read that, like, where's this shit come from, you know? And it's so ridiculous.
That is very analyzed Russian information attack. I honestly...
this is somebody in America who their medication isn't right on the right day. I'm not only picking on Americans, but they're our biggest supporters, so the odds are it is an American.
Thank you, Americans, for the support. This is not to bash on you, but I get the same comments.
And they're not trolls and botniks. Some of them, it's just Florida man.
Just to read you a few, your hairline is retreating faster than the French in the Second World War.
That's a good one, Arthur. Me too.
You motherfucker. Yeah.
You're doing the comb over like me now too.
Yeah. I'm going to wait if it goes like, you know, only the small one, and then I'm going to do a comb over.
You said you had to pick a side. No humanitarian here.
Pick a side like
Ukraine
this?
Or like pick a side. Or get out of the way.
And the other one they do, you know what they do always. As a YouTuber, if you put up Ukraine content, you're always worried about the maybe not you're not worried, but they say your audio level is shit. Nothing else. And I checked, the audio is fine. But that comment, not that I'm going to kill your mother, not that I'm going to shoot your sister, But the fact that they say the order level is shit, I go to check it, and it's fine. It's like it gets a minute of my life, and they know how to do that.
Yes.
It pisses me off.
There's little tricks I learned. There's little tricks, and if you can laugh at yourself on social media, you're going to have an easy time.
Oh yeah.
I always upload. That's an AK-47. AK-47 gets a better hit than an AK-74 on the algorithm,
and
then you get an American calling you an idiot that you don't know your guns because it's an AK-74.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I learned that in England from a podcast master. He interviews the SBS all the time, the Special Boat Service, but he always says SAS because SAS gets better hits. Oh, when he put me up on there, like he's the worst. He's worse than Willie for clickbait. He put our head title Wagner hostage. Where the hell is that from?
Remember what I did, like Brandon Mitchell, how I stepped on a
landmine.
Actually, you didn't step on it, didn't you? You drove on it, right?
Yeah, 2 of them.
But it worked. The clickbait stuff worked.
Mate, you have to use every natural advantage, and what you're doing online, it's the same in Ukraine, it's the same in life.
You're selling the same way I am actually. You're going on a hike. You're going on a hike to fundraise. Whoever done that?
Oh, lots of people have done that. But,
for war or like.
Last summer, I had to come back to Sweden for 2 months again to fight with the immigration. I came to meet you, and despite not being in Ukraine, it was my most successful time for fundraising. You know, going to meet people, Times Radio, CBC, American people, BBC, but 500 kilometers, just me talking to myself like an idiot, hiking through the Swedish mountains.
AK-74. Are you taking your dog also?
Masa will be in attendance because we just did our first hike together. We got to get in shape. This one's all going towards an ultrasound program. So I can scan your entire body, an EFAS protocol it's called. You can teach any medic in a day. Yeah. And it hooks up to your phone. So you don't need power. So I can identify the shrapnel. I can identify the internal bleeding.
What is the difference between if you have it or if you don't have it?
Well, if you don't have it, you don't know. Like, for example, say if you have internal bleeding, there could be signs in the body. See, I'm studying and I know from experience. So you might have something called like a Cullen sign, like a bruise around the belly. That's very definitive for an internal bleed. But where is it? The first day we had a butterfly ultrasound in our stabilization, we identified bleeding on the spleen. You know, my friend Nico, who I came from Sweden with, when he died in Bakhmut, he had a ruptured liver. If there wasn't, I don't know if you can save someone from a ruptured liver, but that was never identified. If they had an ultrasound unit, an EFAS protocol takes about 30 seconds. 30 seconds on someone to identify what's going on in there. It
can be life or death then if you have it or if you don't.
And I don't know in his case, but that would have been identified.
How much does it cost?
They cost about a little over $3,000, $300 a year for licensing. But how cool is this? I qualify for the Global Relief Fund. I've gone through it, and now they're $2,000 with free licensing for life. And that's all going to go to Dr. Stephen Donnelly from Oregon, who taught me. Under Armour used to sponsor him back when it was trendy to support Ukraine. Thank you, Under Armour. But that money's gone now. That kind of aid money to Ukraine is gone now. The Starbucks money, you know, the Bud Light money. But I want to empower him in Quartermaster for Ukraine. Dr. Donnelly teaches interns in Kharkiv. He taught me. He teaches a combat medic course in block by block. So this is my thing. Quartermaster says, you do it. I said, will you supply him the med packs to give all the graduates in his combat medic program? So like, this is how I want things to go.
So you're going on a 500 kilometer hike now, and you're gonna fundraise for these.
I've committed to 1,000 kilometers over the summer.
1,000 kilometers. You're gonna fundraise.
The big one will be about 600.
and then you're going to end it in the Narva River when you're going to pee at the Russian border. Do I understand correctly?
I didn't think we were going to talk about this.
It's OPSEC, damn it. So
No, on the Norwegian border, this hike, I didn't want to spoil it, but Nordkalottleden, it runs Sweden, Norway, back to Sweden, to Finland.
All three countries it goes across?
Yeah, and you're really not that far from the Russian border in Norway after that, and there's an actual sign. They've had to put them all up along the border road where the river runs, and you see the Russian soldiers, and the signs, literally, you can Google Maps now, if you look at where Kirkenes is in Norway, they ask you not to pee towards Russia.
Are you going to pee towards Russia?
I don't know, Arthur. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow or what I'm having for breakfast, Arthur.
You got to live stream it. I got to live stream link it. We're going to put it on the channel, and people are going to buy these machines for the Ukrainian army.
Tell me this. And I'm very curious. How many drones have you fundraised for?
250.
Not bad. That's... I was really excited that you would ask me to fundraise with you. Just recently on my YouTube, I some of my better viewed videos, I had to wait many months to release because I don't like blurring out anything that I don't have to.
OPSEC reasons.
Well, I spent a couple of weeks in Luhansk Oblast on all the drone positions, working on the drone positions because this is the future. This is the present. In the bomber house, learn how to make them, learn how to make bombs, learned everything. And what those guys are telling me, they need your guys' support. But also, there's a problem with the translation from when drones are coming, even FPVs, when they're coming from Estonia or elsewhere in mass, they have to be reconfigured there. And I mean, this is no discredit. You guys, we need you to do your work. But if you're donating 50 drones to 93 Brigade, they're not necessarily going to end up in 53 Brigade, and the majority of them will. And I'm going to tell you what I've learned about drone warfare, and I'm going to plug my channel if you want to watch those videos on drones. A lot of times they have to be altered even further, i.e., how much weight is the payload? How far do they want them to go? Wind, we swap out the battery, provided we have the batteries, for winter, summertime batteries, like the different milliamps, because we don't want to waste on a one-way flight. So a lot of times when drones come, everything's getting used, but certain drones are inappropriate for certain missions. So we swap or we help our friends in different brigades, and there's nothing wrong with that. But nobody ever talks about that, and that's not OPSEC. But everything I've learned about drones, for example, one of the biggest problems we have right now, everybody who fundraises for a Mavic, this is the most important thing I learned. Through organizations and people that you know, people that I know, it don't matter who you want to support, the current price, if you have somebody who knows what they're doing, who's buying components, we can repair about 15 Mavics for the price of one Mavic Pro. Not a Mavic Thermal, a Mavic 3 Thermal, a Mavic 3 Pro. We can repair 15 of them that are sitting in a scrap heap. And at every drone house, whether it be civilian in Ukraine, whether it be in Donbas, an army one, you'll see a post-it note on broken matrices, broken Mavics, and the post-it note will have a phone number and a unit number, and he don't expect his drone back until whenever, till they get components. Your only other option is to rip drones apart and scraps, but then you're taking someone else's drone. But the problem is with fundraisers, and we need the trucks, and this is why NAFO is so powerful, and it appeals to people on a broad range. Like what we're doing now, we need this, and it needs to be done at scale, trucks. But it takes a very interested Ukraine supporter, because a Mavic is tangible, you can touch it, you can see it.
It's very hard to scale $15,000 trucks. It's not even 15, it's $18,000 because of the night vision, because of the jammers.
But how do I appeal to the average American viewer when they see a Mavic, they get it, it's like, no, we're going to spend all your money on these little plastic chips and metal chips, and some of them are going to go here, 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 and you're never going to see the result of it.
It's very hard to sell this. You got to sell a fundraiser truck, okay, kamikaze drone, okay, but for these parts, as you say, for the good usage of money just to repair, it's impossible.
The economics do not lie.
Yeah.
And this is why this is the biggest problem I could identify. Never mind how we're killing them, how we're staying alive. It's easier to fundraise for one Mavic for 5,000 than it is to fundraise for 5,000 worth of components.
Oh yeah,
that could repair.
You need a sellable
that could
product.
repair 20 drones.
I run with the same problem. It was the easiest thing I've fundraised for, and my audience always connects it to, is kamikaze drones. The cheapest, smallest kamikaze drones, because they're cheap. You can see what you buy, you can put your name on it, but they can be jammed, and actually they can be quite useless sometimes. The drone kill ratio is like 15-20%, so 8 drones out of 10 don't hit the targets or are jammed. So its cost effectiveness is not that big actually anymore with the Russian jammers, but people want them to be bought and they donate for them. So what you are doing actually with your medical fundraisers, this is what I've never dared to do, because it's not easy to fundraise for that.
It's not, but
it's very hard.
But my platform is small but powerful, and I've never had any pretension, because I've learned these things and I've tried to explain them as I'm learning them to my audience. It's like, why can Brandon fundraise for an SLR 5500? And it's like, what is an SLR 5500?
I don't know.
Well, basically, it boosts your radio signal. So we ran them all the way from, that's why we always had clear comms from Soledar all the way to Bakhmut. So you can extend the range 5 kilometers, a relay network.
Is that like a stationary relay?
I work on my Motorola, so I can talk to somebody on a position from... Well, you could talk to them from anywhere.
But that's not crypted. It's not.
Yeah, that's encrypted.
Encrypted.
And what we do with encryption's not for public audience, but we're using those SLR 5500s and digging holes, because the Russians know where they are, but you'd have to shit through the eye of the needle the way we dig them in. Because when they jam us, same as a drone, it's power over power at the same frequency. We can boost our radio signal on first and second line positions where they can cut out all our radios, but we can, it's faint, it's cracked, but we can still communicate. But I haven't done many of them, but I can do that.
So you've done that also. It's not medical. It's a relay. You fundraise.
I don't like buying medical products. I like buying things that make Peter go boom, because then we don't need to buy as much medical.
Make Peter go boom.
No, but that's the truth.
That's gonna be the name of the next campaign. Make Peter go boom.
You talk to Ukrainian doctors. One of the doctors I admire the most, my friend Sasha, an anesthesiologist, he said, "I want you to fundraise for drones, not for medical." This medical project I'm doing is because it makes sense, because I know and I believe in my heart through Dr. Donnelly and Quartermaster, and now I'm in hospitals to do presentations. They're not interested in tactical medicine.
Actually, you could open this up and show me what's inside and tell me like a short connection to every item that you have used on the stabilization point.
This is tactical medicine. But if you want to talk to doctors and hospitals, that's why I do the ultrasound. Because that's going to plug them in more for the long term, because it's already in their specialty. Trauma shears, okay?
You got also the clothing with these shears.
I've got everything.
Yeah.
I've got 5 Israeli pressure bandages in each pack as well. Quartermaster bought 70,000.
And that's for stopping the first bleeding?
Yeah, to put pressure to pack the wound. We got an amazing discount on these because the Swedish army couldn't live with themselves. They were written in Arabic. We'll have that. That's from the last war. They don't go bad, that particular one. We've got hemostatic gauze, which is a clotting agent, 2 units, quick clot, not Cellox. I fought long and hard. We are not going to buy Cellox because quick clot works better. This is my trade.
Why is it for? What is it for?
No, I can fill any hole inside your leg, your wound. It aids with your clotting agents. So you can pack a wound, pressure above all.
You actually push it tight in?
Push it tight. I can use hemostats and ram it in there as well after a tourniquet's applied.
You're not going to get blood poisoning because of this? It's safe?
Arthur, half your leg's blowing off already. There's mud and shit in there. Like so, this is
so strange to me. I don't know nothing about medicine.
I'll show you some unedited footage later on.
No, but that shit too much.
You know what these are, the tourniquets. Do you want me to demonstrate on you again?
Again? You almost got off my balls last time. Okay.
5 cat tourniquets.
Let's try it on the arm.
We'll try it later.
Yeah, 5 tourniquets.
This is for 37 Brigade.
Also for the viewer, if you get a tourniquet for $1 or $5, you know you're getting a cheap Chinese one. It's going to break. A soldier's going to die. They cost 15, 20, 25 a piece.
An ineffective tourniquet is more dangerous than no tourniquet.
Yeah, Cat or Dnipro, right?
Cat, Dnipro 50-50, Ukrainian Sich is good, SAM tourniquets. Don't buy cheap. I've got more compact packing gauze. Works on no aiding chemical agent to stop the bleed, but it's always pressure. Pressure stops a bleed. Nasopharyngeal airways. Each one here has 2 in the set. So I can put these in to maintain a patent airway, okay, in a casualty. Because if you're not breathing, you're going to die, right? It's also nice to lubricate these as well, because they're going to feel a lot... I'm not going to say it's going to feel pleasant, but it's going to feel a lot less painful if this is lubricated.
You actually got to push it in, right?
Yes.
Wait, you actually lubricate them and then put it in?
Yeah, even if you push it in straight against the septum, turn it around, and then I can use a BVM to create the air. You might need an oral, like an eye gel. It's keeping the airways open. Whoa. With burn victims and things, this is where, because we deal with a lot of burns, those airways can swell up quick. We need to maintain an open airway. There's 2 lubricants, but I put a 3rd lubricant in as that's my own initiative here, because you never know what could happen in Ukraine. You know, it doesn't happen often for the heroes of Ukraine, so they're all gentlemen, you know.
There's so many jokes I want to make, but I'm not.
No.
So let's continue.
I've got 4 elastic bandages for wrapping in there. Leukoplast tape. I've got in here, I've got
chest
3
seal.
twin sets of chest seals. Twin sets, because what goes in can come out as well. The first
both sides you put it on?
Well, you have to check both sides of the body. If it's ideal if the wound leaves most of the time. The first man that ever died on me, my first guy that I couldn't save, he died of what's called a pneumothorax, tension pneumothorax, and the air gets inside very slowly, and that creates pressure inside the thoracic cavity. That puts pressure on the lungs, so you're struggling to breathe. And then the next thing that it does, it tensions, it puts pressure on the heart, tamponade on the heart, and then all of a sudden your heart stops. This is probably the 2nd most common death in Ukraine. What we include with these sets...
How do you keep this from happening? You punch a hole through the lung?
I'm going to show you. That's the next thing we're going to demonstrate on you.
No.
You ever hear of the word suck in? Because it sucks the skin in. You have to rake the skin and identify these holes. A man can be talking, within a half hour, he can be on his way to death, from normal to death. These are decompression needles, okay? Into the intercostals between the ribs, 2nd mid-clavicular line, 5th mid-axillar. Medicine's changing all the time. There's a 38% failure rate by inserting here in the front. The new medicine and proof that comes out of Ukraine, there's a 13% failure rate by coming in on the side. You know, things are getting better and better, and more people are, as simple as that is, we're learning that in the war. You know, Quartermaster for Ukraine's not made of money. This is true, and we need more support. And if you've got Swedish supporters, I would hope that, you know, if you want trucks, go to NAFO. You know, if you want to support a medical effort, I don't care where you're from. We buy them in the thousands, and we buy them cheaper than anybody. We buy from the same people who supply all the European militaries. I had to take these decompression needles to give you out of other people's kits that are going out next week. I had to mix and match the supplies to cover. The reality is, Kharkiv has really cleaned us out.
Really?
Yes, it's a real thing. You know, we stop them, but at what price? Do you know, when 3rd Assault gets arrest nowadays, they get sent right back out within a week.
I don't imagine them getting rest ever, because they're just stabilizing the fronts all across. Whenever shit happens, they're there.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it's real. Another thing that people don't like to talk about...
thermal blankets?
Yeah, these blankets. And I have to fight with people in Sweden and other medical organizations. We have enough of these to last World War V. But people buy them, they look at the price. Oh, do they need more of those? Let's give them more of that. If it's easy to get, we've got it.
Yeah.
If it's hard to get, if it's expensive to get, you know, you can pay anywhere from $15 to $30 for these.
For one needle?
Yeah, we're paying around 10 roughly. I don't have the prices. If you're not going to support us, I would advocate for Quartermaster for Ukraine, but find a damn good NGO that's doing medical, because they should be able to buy it cheaper than anyone when you're buying 10,000 tourniquets at a time, CAD tourniquets, that would knock down the price. And as quick as we give them out and resupply medics, our IFACs as well. These packs, see, I've done the job. You know what I mean? Tilda, who we have, who gives them out every day, she talks to over 100 medics. You know what I mean? That she knows on a first name basis. The bigger the med pack, I can mix and match it depending on the supplies, because you're dealing with a medical professional or a highly trained medic, such as myself. When it comes to an IFAC, we can't mess with one thing, because that's the lowest trained individual at the first point of contact. That's when it's most important. IFACs have to be perfect.
You cannot miss anything.
You cannot miss anything, and they need to be packed this way. I save myself a lot of effort because I don't have to peel these. When it goes into an IFAC, I have to peel everyone and lace them as a team. Because what about that one dumbass who didn't open his IFAC? Oh, it'll be okay. Se bude dobre. Well, we go through a lot of effort on the Swedish side to pack them right, to take them out of the plastic, because sometimes it will not se bude dobre.
And those 30 seconds that you're going to...
Yes, that you're fucking around. Sorry for my language. So that's why packing med packs is a lot easier for me. I don't have to... We have Swedish army veterans who love to help us pack 500 IFACs at a time, but that's so labor intensive. It needs to be
You got to take everything out, put it back in, push it compact.
Yeah, no, I'm out of burn dressings right now, but that's not the priority. Next month we'll have more. The more money we have, the more we can buy.
And these are going to the truck that we fundraise, actually. I'm
giving
inside.
You 5, and we already supply 37 Brigade, but this was of course, I want people to support our medical efforts, but I'm hoping that we can do more and more together. Me as an individual, you and me, quartermaster for Ukraine. I don't care who it is. If they want to help and if they're any good at it, because some people aren't, then... We sat down in Sweden, a few of the organizations, a couple people at the last Repower event when 100 medics came. I'm going to the next one next week. They let me stay for a few days, and it's nice because I don't feel like such a freak anymore. Like in Sweden, I feel like I'm with my own people, and they let me stay with them. It's good for me. But I sat with some of the Swedish organizations, and they said, long-term collaboration it's not effective for us because we're so invested in doing what we're doing, but we should always be open to one. Here, there, whenever it works for us and it makes it better, and it doesn't always. Anybody who can do good, we can do good together. We can do good on our own, but it's that's the way my platform's always worked. I don't fundraise for a goal, because how do I know Sasha doesn't need an EcoFlow? I get a message.
Plus if you're a medic, you see what is needed now and might not be needed tomorrow, and after tomorrow is something completely new. You got to always keep it going, always fast, always adapting.
People get disappointed otherwise. It's like I bought 27 EcoFlows on sale. You know what they are? The power generating stations. We run the generator for an hour, and then this keeps the whole building running on its own afterwards. And Sasha writes me, I need an EcoFlow. Can you help me? And I said, well, 6 weeks ago, I asked you if you wanted an EcoFlow when I was fundraising for them all, and I got 27. He's like, well, I didn't need it then. I said, Sasha, how long have you known me? Always say yes. And now I got to get him another one. You need to constantly have money to take advantage of opportunities and to deal with crisis.
And this is what you do. This is your style, actually.
That's what I
constantly do. Keep it going,
That's what I do.
I do per campaign. Jake Brow only did one.
Oh my God.
You always keep it happening. So everybody has their different approach to it. But I'm saying that people like you are actually underappreciated a little bit, because it's so hard to keep fundraising efforts going for a long period of time. People get tired. It gets repetitive for them. And if you still generate that, you're a hero, basically. Because it's very easy to do one big one and boom, it's done. Everybody praises you for it. It goes to the headlines. But to keep it going month after month.
You just have to show accountability of where it goes. But the biggest thing I always said, if they don't know you, you're in a dilemma too. Ukraine Aid Ops, I talked to the CEO of Ukraine Aid Ops once, and I said to him, I knew the answer, but I literally was carting off a dead body, and I had signal, and I said, I'm going to lose you, but we've been trying to talk for days on the end. I said, why do you always support Kraken so much? Why don't you give anything to the guys who were desperate in 28 Brigade? He said, Brennan, no one knows about them in the English-speaking world. He said, we tried that for a few months and consistently we had 20% less money to deal with. And this is the sad reality.
This is why 3rd Brigade and other superstar brigades, 47th, 82nd, they get everything. Airborne, mechanized.
When 81st Brigade was on the same stabilization with 3rd Assault, this was when Chasiv Yar was much more stable months ago, 3rd Assault fed 81 Brigade. Because when the press comes there, their staff tells them, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like stupid Soviet shit. And 3rd Assault says, guys, we're so busy now, but if you wait, we're going to talk to you and everything. That's the difference with 3rd Assault. That's the difference why they deserve what they get. But they know how to talk to people. But just them being in the area, like when they, I don't know what state 81 Brigade's medical supplies are in now. You know? So that's where a Brandon, that's where a superstar, an amazing medic like Rebecca, where people from her country want to give to her, but all those guys in 53 Brigade who nobody cares about in the English-speaking world, that's where they come in, you know, and that's where there's some real superstars like that.
It's really difficult to fundraise for these unknown brigades. People are just seeing another number. They know 3rd, they know 82nd, they know 47th, Azov, Kraken, right? They don't know just a 73rd, 15th. They don't know these. They're just a number of them, but they need stuff. They die on the fronts the same way. And how do you fundraise for them?
Well, I do it ruthlessly. My dear friend Nika, who used to be my paramedic partner for a long time, people love her on my social media. She's in 71 Brigade now. They have no press.
No press at all?
No press. And then when I said to Ali, I think Nika asked me for a car and I needed to fundraise for Nika. And people on the internet like, Nika's in trouble? I ran like an addict. I ran 8 half marathons in 10 days and then I ripped my hip flexor. But I had $22,000. The truck didn't cost $22,000. Do you know how many other people I was able to feed out of that? Like, I was like, Nika, do you need anything else? I've got a lot of money now. You know, so I ruthlessly use a 20-year-old girl.
You cannot see that.
No, but that's the way the world works because they know about this 20-year-old girl. They know.
Yeah. And I don't know if the viewer or listener understands how much this war and fundraising is about trying to sell to your audience what is needed, what is necessary, and trying to find a balance between what is actually needed and what is popular.
Yep.
What is needed? These units, they need help, but nobody knows, nobody cares. Everybody wants to give the 3rd. Okay, the 3rd is good, but I don't want to give a car to them because they have enough cars. That's why, like...
And they do and they don't, but
they never have enough.
When they went back to Avdiivka to plug the gaps, and this is the truth, I'm telling you, because I have friends in 3rd Assault. They lost people, but they lost a shitload of assets.
They lost a lot of people also.
But I don't know how to say this. They were really hurting for trucks, like more than, they don't lie. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't lie. They're like, oh no, I'm good now if you can help someone else. Like that's why you support an organization that you trust that has a person on the ground permanently who can relay that information. Because there's some people that will forego aid. And then the sad thing is they come to you 2 weeks later, you know they're desperate. And it's like, sorry, it's gone. Yeah, but that's the heart. Some people will take everything and they're not wrong either. Do you know? Yeah, I've fundraised for 4 trucks so far this year myself.
4 trucks?
Yeah. So 3 Nissan Patrols. I love Patrols. The last one left yesterday. It's all about getting a good, reliable driver, right, to bring it down. And 1 Hilux. But 2 of those trucks have gone to 3rd Assault. Yeah, they've taken a real battering since Avdiivka. But I kind of know how things played out there, and I used to live around Ocheretny. Yeah, they get the result.
For the viewer also, like I gotta say that there is no specific goal for this talk, just to open up how what is our position as fundraisers, because you constantly have to fight this battle between your audience and between on the other side. You're the filter between. And you got to translate these funds here to here. It's very difficult to be here. So this is just opening this up.
Yeah. And I would say this for myself, any of your viewers, because this podcast will probably do relatively well. I'm not General Ben Hodges, but our last one did extremely well.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually after any more followers. I would just like the support. I would like my monetary support to be like what it was 3
Go
months
and subscribe
ago.
to Brandon's channel. Link is in the description below.
But if you do want insights that aren't just coming out of my mouth, watch the last few drone videos I put out like over the last month or two. Don't watch all my videos because you don't want to watch me and my dog hiking, you know. But if you want to know about FPV production in Kyiv, decentralized production, how some of them don't even know each other. And they've never met in person. That one guy wants to produce 10 a month. He's an IT worker making an American salary. That's what he's doing with 100 other guys in their network. I've also covered videos how we strip grenades, how we modify mortar rounds for dropping. In the bomb house, how antennas are working, how we're getting support. Like these are all on our positions, and then it will probably culminate with on our positions in Luhansk, seeing what you really want to see.
Go and check that out. Actually, you can see it in the link in the description.
The next one's out on Sunday in one of the bomb houses.
Yeah, making the bombs.
Well, some of them making it, not me personally. One room in particular, if you were to set off even so much as a hand grenade in there, I think you would see on satellite what would happen. But you know, like I was trusted to go there and do that, and it's 6 months later that I can release that, and that particular drone team didn't even want funding, just if I keep doing what I do, because everyone's doing good, but we can do a lot better. With general knowledge, everything I'm going to show in those videos is outdated. Frequencies, locations.
Yeah, before anybody goes, oh, that's not OPSEC, you know.
The principle is the same.
Yeah. But I want to ask you now the final question, just to say a message to the viewers, my viewers, your viewers, the future donators of our joint campaign now.
This is our first, and I hope we can do a lot more.
Yeah.
What do I want to say to them?
Yeah.
You know, keep whatever you want to do for Ukraine, whatever motivates you, it doesn't matter. If you knew a Ukrainian, if you've got Ukrainian roots, if you just know it's the right thing, keep doing it. I would ask, shooting ourselves in the foot, even more than money, please keep the letters going to your politicians. In America, in the UK, in Europe, politicians are not our friends. You know, they're just like normal people there. They want to get another term, and they want to get a pension. They want to look after their children. And yeah, I do believe they want to do good things, but they got to take care of them first. And you have never seen such a big foreign policy issue. I've been in the British Parliament. I've been in the Swedish Parliament. And it won't get you kicked out of office, but we need to be loud. And we need to continue to be loud, and it needs to be an election issue, and sadly to say, Ukraine, as much as everyone's, it's not a make or break election issue, because they wouldn't have supported you or me this long if they didn't believe this.
Yeah.
It's more powerful than anything. I did not believe in the work of Starsky and how he fights Russian propaganda as much as I did till the shell stopped in Kherson. I seen that with my own eyes. So that's more than any of us can do as individuals or organizations. When politicians, if they would only lift a finger,
and that
everything that we do,
and that power is at
pales.
the viewer actually. Like these letters and these pressurizing them, asking these questions at public events when the politicians speak, that makes a difference. That puts them on public pressure. That's when they make the decision, not when it's right, but when they're at pressure.
I've learned that with my own. I've seen that on the front, and that's where drones have literally held the line to what it is now. But last thing, I want to present you with a gift.
Oh yeah.
The last time we met in Estonia, You and me, and Jesper, and Starsky, and Mercado, and Johnny FD, and Pasha.
I was in Ukraine, actually, yeah.
Yeah, when we were in Kiev. You tried Sweden's most disgusting food.
Surströmming, I'll never forget it. I'll never forgive you.
Yeah, you'll never forgive me. I wanted to buy for you and for your beautiful wife-to-be.
Do you have surströmming?
Surströmming ice cream. No. This is Sweden's second most disgusting food.
Don't open. Oh.
It's called salt lakris.
Oh, it's licorice.
And this is this is extreme salt lakris. So
oh my god.
I've never been able to keep one in my mouth for more than 5 seconds, but
do you want me to try now?
yeah, go on. Get on the camera there. Get some grossness. Okay.
I'm gonna regret this.
You might. You can spit it out into your cup if you don't. Go on, stick it in your mouth. Hold it in there for 10 seconds. For Ukraine. Davai.
Oh my god.
It's shit, isn't it? Swedish people are so weird, I swear to God. Did you spit it out into the thing? But those are for your wife. I'll give it to some Vatnik.
Fuck you. Oh my god.
Yeah, le I love you, Arthur.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
What is wrong with Swedish people?
I don't know, they're weird. They're really weird.
Oh.
They're good, you know, like they thank you. Tack som fan för all.
Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for coming to the episode. Thank you for finding the time. You actually flew here for this second episode we did.
You got politicians in here. They don't give you shit like that.
No. They gave me taxes, and they don't even use it for the army.
Yeah, and you get a handshake with me.
No, thank you so much, Brandon.
Thanks, brother.
You're really hero of me and hero of all of the viewers, and thank you for what you're doing for Ukraine.
What the hell else are we gonna do if we don't do it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.